Hey, hello, hello, hello. Let me quickly admit someone. Just quickly. I think we're live. I think we are live. Oops. But I'm not sure because I can't. Let me see. Oh yeah, okay. Watch this video. See. I'll just turn it down. Okay, great. Jessica, good evening. Excellent. Hi, ladies. Look, it's great. It's great to be presenting again. It's great to see you all. If you can see me and hear me well, seriously, Nicholas, if you are watching me, can you please tell Alaska not to call me? Oh my goodness. Oh. Just 1 second. That's crazy. What's going on? Ladies, I'm so sorry. My little girl somehow got her hands on her iPad, obviously, and she's trying to FaceTime me. I have no idea. I've got people watching us. I have no idea where my husband is, why he's not minding her. My apologies about that. Okay, great. Let's begin. Look, ladies, Chelsea's running just a little late. She will be joining us as soon as she can. And I thought this tonight's live is super important because we have started the challenge, right? So we've started the challenge on Saturday. We've got so many beautiful ladies sharing their journey already, sharing their little fears, big fears, and it's great to see you coming out of your shell and you making yourself accountable by posting yourself, your before pictures, by posting your daily meals. It's really incredible to see. Again, in my previous video, I think yesterday or last night that I've created. Okay, let me just quickly admit Chelsea. Sorry. Hi, Chelsea.
Hi.
Hello, hello. How are you going? You good?
Good. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I had a couple of technical issues, but it's okay. I'm sharing two screens and I'm trying to find my mouse, but it's all good. It's all good. What I was saying before, it's incredible to see so many women participating in the challenge. And as I said in my last video last night, it's the first couple of weeks are super exciting. You know, you're going on this journey, you're a little bit skeptical what's going to happen. Every day is a novelty, but I think by sharing your journey in a group, it makes you accountable. B, 100% you will pick something up that you perhaps missed in a guide or perhaps you misunderstood. So just do yourself a favor, don't be shy, come out of your shell and actually start participating in a group. Share your meals. The first couple of weeks are super important, as I said, because you might think you're doing everything right, and then Chelsea, me, Kelly, or Alia will look through your meals and will pick something that's not supposed to be on your plate, and we correct you right there, right at that instant, rather than leaving you and you going on a journey for the next couple of weeks and the weight is not shifting the way you want to shift or versus other girls. So just make sure you share your meals. It's very important. I'd like
Definitely.
Yes. If you unsure of what you need to do, in your email when you did sign up, and I think every email we sent, we actually have a link to terms and conditions. It's very important for you to read them, simply because I suppose we've spent a lot of time. Like I actually printed the terms and conditions, and there's about 10 pages, 7 pages, right? So it's important to read the terms. We have changed the terms and conditions from previous challenges. Not massive changes, just minor changes to, I suppose, make your life a little easier. Remember how for the girls who have done the challenges before, how we were expecting you to share your journey every day. So you had to post your meals every day. You had to post your weigh-ins, any questions. We have changed that because we understand it's a lot, and if you're not really a social media user, it can be overwhelming, and we definitely don't want to add extra stress upon your shoulders. So what we have created, there will be 2 check-ins each week, one on Wednesday. So one of the girls from the office will write a post and publish it in private Facebook group, and will something along the lines, look, share your progress, and share your photos, share your measurements, right? And then in this particular thread, you'll just, in your comments, you'll share your updates. And on Sunday, exactly the same thing will happen. So myself or Chelsea or Keely will post a post. Today is Sunday, please provide your stats. And under this thread, you just need to share your updates. It's totally up to you if you want to do it on a daily basis. I highly recommend to do it on a daily basis, but it's only if you actually can and you're mentally ready for it. As I said, we don't want to overload you with unnecessary stress. Again, if in any questions, just please go and read through the challenge terms and conditions again. We also need to highlight that we don't, when we go through the challenge and go through the journey, our challenges are not based on competing against a participant. It's all about how can I improve myself? What can I do better? How can I do the very best each day? You will be doing mistakes. You will be probably falling off and trying to get up again. But don't have it in your head, I'm competing against Jessica, or I'm competing against Zhanna, or I'm competing against Chelsea. It's your race. And Chelsea, you probably are the best to talk about races. You've participated in them. So, you keep a focus on you. Keep your little, keep your focus on you. Stay in your game. Don't think of, Alicia lost 10 kilos versus me, I lost only 5. Everyone is going through their own journey. So that's very important to remember. And mentally, it's going to be a lot easier for you to move on to the next day, move on to the next chapter.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I even noticed someone post that today, that just reminded themselves that their body, maybe processes things a little bit slower. And I think it is important to recognize, and even because a lot of people are tracking their weight per day, it may day by day look like a really small number, but over the week that can add up, to something quite significant. So I think it's really important to keep that in mind as well, kind of both sides of it, that everyone's body is a little bit different, and what's great for you may be really different for someone else. But also it really is about the long-term changes rather than just what you see day to day. So don't let that kind of control how you move forward or how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super important. Please refer to your calendar. So you all would have received the calendar by now. And I think the girls, I don't think I actually know, the girls have put a lot of effort into our calendar, and we have created quite interactive challenge. So even like we're going to have a pub night, right? I think 2 or 3. So do refer to your calendar and make yourself available, because it's something that we've created for you to allow you to succeed and to reach your goal. Of course, we have prizes as per usual. So there will be, as usual, a Slim by Nature hamper. But plus, for the first time in Slim by Nature's history, we actually have collaborated with other brands, which is super exciting. And they have donated different prizes, which I will be talking in my next live, and we'll be sharing some posts about beautiful goodies that we have in store for you. To win, you must interact. As I've said before, you must interact within our private Facebook group. You must like our Facebook official page. And if you are an Instagram account holder, please do like Slim by Nature official. That's our account. So we try to share different information on each platform. And our stories, I think they're pretty fantastic, to be honest.
Yeah, I was just about to say that too. That's another benefit of following along the Instagram page because there's good content like within the feed, but we've kind of been placing a bit more energy into our stories recently. And at least a few times a week, we try to make sure there's some not just educational but fun things in there. Lots of fun quizzes and fun things to learn.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Chelsea loves the little what do you call them? Yes and no, or have a guess?
Yeah, so this or that. Yeah, we like those ones. I've also enjoyed doing a few of the quizzes, like which food is this? Because I remember when some of these I didn't learn until like my last year of uni. It's not really something that they teach in the degree. We just had a tutor who thought it was really fascinating. And then we all thought it was so fascinating. And ever since then, I've just found it really interesting to see what a lot of different food looks like when it's growing, because some things you would never pick. So that's another one that makes a regular feature on the Instagram story.
I totally love this. Yeah, I love our stories. So if you are on Instagram, make sure you love us, you like us, you share our stories. And also our stories from Instagram, they actually run on our Slim by Nature Facebook page. So if you are not on Instagram, you still can watch our stories. And I think that's pretty much it. So that's just really around general terms and conditions for this particular challenge. And I will be, I'll pass you on to Chelsea now. She'll be talking about, the phase 1, the phase 2, the difference between drops and patches, why we need to load. And then we'll probably run with it for the next half an hour or so. If you do have any questions, I'll be actually monitoring the questions, because it's the first time I don't have to do all by myself. And we've got an amazing system, so I can actually see the questions, and I'll make sure that we have questions here as well in a group, which is great. And then I'll jump in, and I really want to, while we're starting this challenge, or we have started already in the first week, I want to talk about goal settings, because to set your goal and to achieve anything in life, we really need to know certain tools. And like I love the saying, it's not that we're lazy or we're dumb or we're stupid, which we're not. It's sometimes we fail simply because we don't have the right tools to progress. And this particular tool is very simple. We also will be given a workbook right after this live stream. Please check your emails, because you will be receiving a workbook in your email. Download it and just allow yourself, I would say, at least half an hour, at least 30 minutes, and go through each exercise. It is so beneficial. It will, as long as you put the time in, and as long as you actually go through the exercises, it will allow you to achieve not just the goals here in a group, not just the weight loss goals, not just to improve your health, but it might help you to change your life a little. So I'll be jumping after Chelsea's finishes her session. So over to you, Chelsea.
Great. Hi everyone. I can see all your comments. Nice to have you all here. So I'm Chelsea, for those who are new to the group. I'm a naturopath and nutritionist here at Slim by Nature. I do a few of these live sessions and really enjoy them. So today we're going to be going over kind of what you need to know when you're starting off your detox. So first we'll begin with just explaining the loading phase a little bit, because I did see kind of over the weekend, obviously a lot of people have done their loading phase, which is pretty enjoyable because you basically just get to continue to eat whatever you like, but just while you're wearing the patches. So it's kind of often at the end of that loading phase that people sometimes can feel a little disheartened, but I just want to reassure everyone that any result that you see from loading is a good one. So basically the purpose of loading, we have a few different purposes. One really basic one is to just clear out your pantry. It is kind of good to do this before loading, but if you've got anything else in there that you know is either maybe healthy or less healthy, it's a good time to make sure that it gets out of your pantry so it's not tempting you through your detox. So whether that means eating it through loading or just getting rid of it, any food really does go in loading. The main thing is to make sure that we're getting the ingredients from the drops and the patches in. So that's going to be helping to make sure that the metabolism is starting to increase, that fat burning is beginning, and also some of those detoxification channels and elimination pathways are starting to be stimulated by the ingredients in the drops and patches. So increasing metabolism is a really big one. And the last one is topping up your stored energy. So anytime that we eat more, obviously a lot of that food has to go somewhere, and it doesn't all go to fat. Actually, if you put on any weight during loading, it's only 2 days. So it's very, very unlikely that much or any of that is going to be fat. A lot of it is actually your stored glycogen. So this is basically carbohydrates where that gets stored in your body. So that alone will add on weight, but then also every single glycogen molecule holds 3 molecules of water. So that's kind of when people talk about that water weight. So when you do the opposite, when you actually load and eat more food, all that extra stored glycogen is going to be holding with it water. But then also because you've consumed a lot more food, if your bowel motions haven't quite caught up, you're going to have a lot more chyme and kind of stool that's waiting to be passed still sitting in your system, which can then add to the scales as well. There's likely to be a little bit of inflammation, potentially some gas, depending on exactly what you've been eating. So don't be at all discouraged if you notice, like some people don't see a change at all in the scales, and some people even said that the scales have gone down. That can just be because the food you've been eating is still reasonably healthy and the drops and the patches are already starting to work. But for those who really, enjoyed their loading phase, don't be distressed if the numbers do go up, because it does drop really, really quickly. Because as I said, most of it is just that stored energy and water, which will go as soon as you move into phase 2. Yeah, I think that those are the most important things to know about loading. It's nothing to be concerned by. It's actually really good. Either way is good. It's really going to help set you up for phase 2. So then during phase 2, there are a few important things to note, mostly about the food. So you'll have noticed through our guide and through the approved food list that we don't combine protein and veg on the detox. So all of your 2 main meals for the day will include 1 source of protein and 1 source of veg. So depending on exactly which detox you're on, if you're on the original, that will be 100 grams of protein and 125 grams of veg per meal. And the reason that we don't combine, so as in you wouldn't have, let's say, a salad with chicken plus tomatoes and capsicum. You just pick the tomatoes or you just pick the capsicum. We do this for a couple of different reasons. So one of the big reasons is to reduce the load on the digestive system. So every different food kind of tends to digest at a slightly different rate, and also because they have a slightly different nutritional profile, they may vary a little bit in carbs, fats, etc. And they all will digest slightly differently. And it can take a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. So it's important while we're detoxing to kind of reduce the load on any of those elimination systems, and our digestive tract is a really big one. So by only eating really simple foods or foods that aren't combined, it really helps to reduce that load. Another really big reason is then it makes it a lot easier to identify how your body is responding to food. So if you've only had 1 or 2 key ingredients in a meal, it's really easy to see exactly what meals may be affecting how your body is processing. So say, for example, you would wake up one morning feeling really groggy, or you noticed the scales went up a little bit, maybe you didn't pass a bowel motion as regularly, maybe you were super thirsty, maybe you were bloated. This is where it comes really in handy to be able to track exactly what you've been eating and to be able to kind of pinpoint that a little bit quicker, because then you can start to see patterns sooner. You might notice, okay, every time that I ate eggs is one that we do tend to see often. If women eat eggs at night, it's probably that it's affected the way that their body's passing a bowel motion. That may lead to an increase in the morning. But it's kind of similar. I think it's important to remember that anytime you see the scales either go up or stall, it's almost never because there's something wrong with your fat loss or you've gained fat. It's really important to remember that most of the time it's actually stall. And particularly on detox, because we're eating such a smaller volume of food, we actually need a certain amount of volume to stimulate the stretch receptors in our stomach so that stool can be passed. So it's not really constipation, it's just that the volume is a lot less and the body can take a little bit longer for that to add up to move through you. So it sits for a little bit longer. And often also on a detox, because the body's really adjusting to this change, sometimes you can pass bowel motions and it may not be complete. They can still be in your system that you may not realize, and that can also influence the scale. So it's another big reason that we recommend doing measurements and taking photos so that you can continue to track the process, even if the scales aren't seeing it. Another really important factor to remember during phase 2 is that it is really essential that you do eat all of the allocated foods. So obviously per meal, you've got your protein and your veg, but then also throughout the day, you'll have your snacks and your fruit. This is for a few different reasons. The program is a very holistic program. We want to make sure that you are getting everything that your body needs. So where there is, I guess, reduced energy intake, we still need to make sure that the nutritional intake is as high as it can be. So that's why the fruit is really important. We also want to make sure we're getting in that fiber to help with the bowel motions, but also fiber is really important as a prebiotic for feeding the really healthy bacteria in our gut, which we now know influences everything from our mental health to our digestion, to our hormones, to our skin, to our perception of pain. So fiber is really important, and it's another big reason that it's really essential that you do eat everything. Sometimes women will ask us, I haven't been getting the results. Should I cut out the snacks? No, don't cut out the snacks. They're really important. It is important to have that little bit of carbohydrate.
What can you recommend, Chelsea, for those who, we have quite a few of clients who would say, I only eat, let's say, green vegetables, or I don't eat pretty much nothing out of vegetable, or I don't eat any fruit, can I replace fruit with veg? So I remember this particular lady, she's actually daughter of Kelly Bryant, and no matter how many times she did a program, she still wouldn't eat zucchinis. Like a lot of vegetables would be off her plate. What can you recommend to those girls who don't eat a lot of vegetables or don't eat a lot of fruit?
Because they don't like them?
They don't like them. They don't like the texture or whatever reason, but they just don't. Stubborn.
I think that's where this program is really good, because you kind of have to learn to adapt in a way. I think a lot of the reason that people don't like certain foods is maybe just because they haven't really tried them enough, or because they haven't eaten them in certain ways. I think especially when both fruit and vegetables, if it's a textural thing, that's really easy to get around, because you could cook it in a different way. You could blend it into a soup. Even with fruit, for people who aren't really big fruit people, you could get frozen fruit and blend it into a smoothie if you don't overly like the texture. So I think there are heaps of ways around it. And especially if it's a taste thing, using the seasonings. I often recommend ours because they are delicious. But if you don't have access to them, or you want something that's maybe a bit easier to get, there are certain brands in the supermarkets that you can get that don't have a lot of the added nasties. I think that's another important thing to remember when you're looking for spices in the supermarket. Check the ingredients list, because you want to make sure that the only things on there are herbs and spices and maybe salt, because a lot actually do sneak in sugar. If you see glucose, fructose, any of those, it's sugar. There's a lot that put in oils, a lot of other weird added fillers that really don't need to be there. So really try to pick the fresh ones. And they're a really good way. Also, a lot of the approved sauces, go nuts with the approved sauces. I still have like a shelf full in my fridge of all the approved sauces, and I still use them all the time. mingle is such a good one. That's one that I often recommend to people if you don't want to maybe if you want to try something different, if you want something that you can just grab from the supermarket, Mingle's a good brand. But yeah, I think that's what a lot of people tend to report back about this program, is not just that they were able to lose the weight, but it really changed their relationship with food long term. It made healthy options seem a lot more achievable, maybe because they learned to cook things in a different way, or they learned to try different foods. So yeah, I think soups is a really good one, different stir fries, getting an air fryer. Even for me, that's been a bit of a game changer. Yeah, so just trying a few different things.
Yeah, we love it here in the office. Another important part, I think I need to bring, just talk about it a little. Instead of looking at you depriving yourself, or looking at the food list and thinking, oh my God, will I be eating this for the next 40 days or 43 days, 60 days, depending on your program. Change your mindset and think and talk to yourself around that. I'm in such a good environment, and I'm doing this for my health, that I have this opportunity to eat this wholesome food. And also, if you love something, or if you miss something from the approved food list, just be kind to yourself and say, I can have it, just not today. So that, rather than thinking, oh, I can't have bread and butter and avocado for the next 40 days, sounds very daunting and sounds almost unachievable, and you might instantly decide to give up. But when you actually turn around and say, just take it day by day, do your best each day. I can have it, just not today, and just move on onto something that excites you. So I think that's a good little example.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also knowing that even though the food may be different, it can still taste really good. I think a lot of people consider what their perception of a detox, and it's just really bland food, or it's just shakes. But the awesome thing is that with our food, there's so much you can do with it. Even when we did our active detox, I was surprised every day by how good I could make the food taste. And I think definitely also lean on the unlimited onion and cucumber and lettuce, because that really helps kind of bulk out your food, but also give you a bit more variety in exactly how you can put things together. Okay, what was I up to? Okay, my other point with D2 phase 2 that I just really quickly wanted to cover was the detox headaches. So I did notice this as a little bit of a few different people commenting this morning in our Facebook page. And detox headaches do happen, not to everyone, but to some people. It really does depend on exactly what your diet and lifestyles look like leading into detox. So for a lot of people, it can be because their body is kind of adjusting to no sugar. Any sort of a change, even if you're making a good change, the body's still almost going through a little bit of a shock if it's not having the processed foods or the oils or whatever other ingredients that it may be used to. It's actually a pretty good sign that the body is releasing a lot of those toxins. So it means that the patches, the drops, and what you've been doing so far is working to stimulate those elimination channels. So try to consider it a good thing, even though it's really uncomfortable. It passes for everyone at a different rate, and we do recommend that if it's lasted for longer than 7 days, to go and visit your doctor. But honestly, it normally will just be a couple of days, and there are lots of things that you can do, if that. A lot of people will say they just had it for a morning, they drank a bunch of water, maybe they had a little lie down, or they had some magnesium and it passed. So everyone's a little bit different, but there are a few things that we can do to help make it pass a little bit sooner. So the first one is water. As we said, a lot of the reason that people experience these headaches is just because their body is getting rid of a lot of those toxins, and we know that water or any increased fluid intake is really going to help flush any of those toxins out. So drinking lots of extra water. Tea's another really big one. So any sort of herbal tea will be good mostly for the water content, but there are certain herbal teas that are specific for helping with headaches. So the two from our range that I recommend are our liver detox, so T1. There are a couple of ingredients in there that are really specific to headaches. So ginger, Research around how ginger can reduce pain, inflammation, particularly headaches, and even nausea. Sometimes with the headaches, occasionally people may experience a little bit of nausea. That can also be a lot to do with the digestive system changing. And I think particularly on a detox, nausea tends to be more, the body is still producing certain levels of digestive acids because it's kind of anticipating a larger food load. And then when it doesn't get it, that can sit a bit uncomfortably. So that actually does adapt pretty quickly. But ginger can still be really helpful for that. So ginger is in T1 liver detox. It's also in our anti-inflammatory tea. But another ingredient in T1 liver detox is nettle. So nettle is really specific for reducing symptoms of pain because of its anti-inflammatory and analgesic properties, and specifically headaches have been shown to be helped by nettle. And then in the anti-inflammatory tea, so it also has ginger. There's also evidence that shows that curcumin, so the kind of compound of turmeric that has therapeutic benefits, can help to reduce the frequency of headaches and even severe migraines. So those are two really good ones to add in. I might just jump into some of these questions before I move on. Okay, feeling dehydrated despite drinking 3 to 4 liters of water. I would have probably a couple more questions about that one, because it depends on exactly how long you've been feeling dehydrated. If it's just since starting the detox, it could be a number of different things. Sometimes dehydration can also occur because your body isn't quite processing glucose properly. So if there's still glucose sitting in the blood, it can cause that feeling of dehydration, which is why it can potentially be a symptom of insulin resistance and other conditions. So I can't see your name for that one, just says Facebook user. But if you'd like to comment in here again, otherwise maybe send us an email with a bit more info, and then I'll probably just send a couple of questions back and we can work with you from there. Tried extra lettuce, great. Green tea is okay. Yep. Just remember though that green tea does contain caffeine. So because caffeine's also a diuretic, we say that any liquid that contains caffeine doesn't actually count as your water intake for the day. So if you're aiming to drink, let's say 2.5 liters of water, you drank 1 liter of straight water from your bottle, and then you drank however many cups of tea that added up to 1.5 liters. All of those teas would need to be caffeine free. So all of our herbal teas are caffeine free. It's really just black, white, and green teas, and obviously coffee, that contain caffeine. So absolutely, green tea and black tea still have a lot of health benefits. Just be aware of how that caffeine may affect you when it comes to sleep, when it comes to anxiety, but also just know that that cup or mug of tea wouldn't count as your water intake. Yeah, so lettuce is any of like the white lettuces, I guess. So iceberg, cos, butter lettuce, just they're all included in the unlimited. Spinach, rocket, any of those like silver beet, more nutrient dense ones, we're still left in the vegetable list, and that is purely because they're much more nutrient dense. We just want to make sure that you're getting the most out of that vegetable source, and those kind of lighter lettuces are mostly just water. They don't really contain too many nutrients. Prickly ash. I assume that's a tea. You mentioned not to mix the veggies. Yeah. So when it comes to vegetables, it's just 1 vegetable per meal and 1 protein per meal. So say, for example, you could have your mince with your cabbage. You wouldn't have mince, cabbage, and tomato. You just pick 1 vegetable or the other. Frozen, we definitely recommend fresh where possible. It's really difficult to know the nutritional quality of frozen foods, but in general, we do know that it's much, much lower. So definitely pick fresh wherever you can. It would still be the same thing. If you had access to, then like absolutely. it's still important to get that vegetable in. So if it's frozen and that's all you can do, then, you know, just accept and take what you can. But yeah, choose fresh where you can. And yeah, if it was frozen, you would just still have one or the other. So you just have your broccoli, or you just have your, is it trees? Yeah, prickly ash is totally fine then. And I'm pretty sure actually prickly ash doesn't have any caffeine in it either. Lovely. I just quickly wanted to, before I pass back to Zhanna to go over goal setting, I just quickly wanted to go over the drops and the patches. So both of them are homeopathic formulations. A lot of people are quite new to homeopathics, and they're a really, really wonderful way to treat people. They're actually highly effective but very, very low risk. So the American Association of Homeopathic Pharmacists has said that homeopathic medicines have a very low risk of side effects and no contraindications. They can be safely taken with other conventional medications and are often recommended to complement other treatments. So I think another big reason that we like the use of homeopathics in our formulations is because we do know that a lot of women have other conditions, maybe taking medications for whether it's pain or it's thyroid conditions or whatever it may be. So homeopathics is suitable for all of those. Oh, thank you. That's so lovely.
Beautiful comment.
So nice.
We keep asking Chelsea if she decides to move to Gold Coast. You know, we'll meet her and greet her with open arms. But she's
I know
for now. But you never know.
It's so tempting, yeah. I mean, I'd love to at least be up there more regularly, but the borders are making that very challenging. Okay, so homeopathics actually work.
Sorry, Charles. There's a question. I actually just saw the comment. What about patches that fall off dry and non-oily?
Yeah. So our patches are pretty adhesive, but I think it does really depend on the type of skin, exactly where you put it. So what a lot of people find really effective is just putting a waterproof bandage, adhesive Band-Aid, whatever you can over the top, and there's usually no problems after that.
I'll jump in here as well. We had a couple of women, couple of ladies who have used our patches, and for whatever reason, this particular, when they placed a latest order, the patch fell off. So I was chatting to Ali and Keely this morning or this afternoon. What we are doing, it's, as you can understand, it's super difficult for us to determine why. Just so you know, our manufacturer, they produce patches 4-6 times a year. So we actually buy in bulk. So it's not like, you know, there's one batch every month. I've been testing patches, all different patches, for probably the last 6 weeks. My skin is not normally oily, so I don't have any issues. In fact, I'm wearing Inner Goodness patch at the moment, and I'm on my on day 10, and obviously I have 2 showers a day. But what we have decided is, if you have any questions, or if you feel like your patch is falling off, of course we don't want you to stop the journey, but what we want you to do is send the pack back to us so we can actually test it ourselves. As soon as we see your tracking number, so you need to give us the tracking number, we'll send you, the 1 or the 2 patches that fell off back to you. But just read the instructions on how to apply the patch. So apply quite firmly, and the best part on the body is obviously the abdominal area. So I normally put my patch, let's say detox patch, to the left from the belly button, and my Inner Goodness patch to the right, and then every 7 days, every week, I swap them, so I don't actually get confused or I don't lose the patches. But just if you do have any questions, please email support. We would love to look after you and just see. Another thing is, sorry, I need to bring this also into conversation. If you see, for whatever reason, if you purchase something and if you see a faulty product, which we hardly ever have, but for example, if you do, you've got 14 days to report back to us, right, Chelsea? And I think you said something today as well with supplements. Not many companies would even allow the 14 days with the supplements.
Yeah, absolutely. I've worked for other companies before who just had a no refund policy, because I think particularly when it comes to supplements, it's important the way that it's been stored. So places I'd worked before, they wouldn't take anything back because as soon as the supplement has entered someone's house, like we know the quality of how it's being transported to people's homes. But after that point, then that's something that we kind of can't confirm. And it can really, I guess, alter the quality of the product. So any kind of challenges that can happen after that, it's hard to know exactly why. So yeah, that was why a lot of other companies just kind of have a flat no.
Yeah. So yeah, do reach out to us as soon as you have noticed. So don't leave it for next month, and then when you decide to embark on a journey, come back and say something was faulty. As I said, we don't have many faulty products at all, but it's sometimes it does happen. So yeah.
And also do remember that the ingredients do last in your system for about 72 hours. So if a patch has fallen off and maybe you didn't realize and there was a bit of time, you don't have to fret. You've got like 3 days or whatever that is before, you have to worry about the ingredients kind of leaving your system. So you'll still be getting a lot of those benefits, and it's not something to be too concerned about. We recommend switching sides of the patches just so that the skin has a chance to breathe. So yeah, it's important to just move the patch to a different spot after those 7 days. So homeopathics work more by stimulating the body to produce its own benefits rather than providing, a large dose or a therapeutic dose, which is really great because it means that when you do kind of move out of the detox or move off the patches, that it's kind of trained your body to be able to do the job itself. So it's not like a lot of pharmaceutical medications where as soon as you stop taking it, you stop getting the benefits. It's actually helped to stimulate kind of that inner power and inner ability to kind of keep up those benefits. And just quickly, I wanted to touch on the patches and how they work. So a lot of people ask, like, oh, does the patch really work? Doesn't really make much sense because it's your skin and it's not going inside. But what we put on our skin absorbs really, really quickly. That's why we recommend detox baths. That's why a lot of people will use Epsom salt soaks, spray things topically. That's why, a lot of things we get put on our skin, they say it takes 20 to 30 seconds for it to potentially absorb into your bloodstream. And a lot of people who do use certain medications, there are lots of other pharmaceutical medications that use this method because it does work to get ingredients into the skin. So some medications to treat hypothyroidism, some for pain relief, ticks, fleas, those kind of things. They all are used transdermally. So it actually bypasses the digestive tract and gets absorbed directly into the bloodstream. So it gives you kind of like a slow drip of what you need. A lot of people notice the benefits almost straight away. So yeah, they are extremely effective and they do work in a slightly different way. So we find in general that people get basically the same results from drops and patches, but some people's systems do tend to work in slightly different ways, and some will report saying they've used the drops before and now this time they're using the patches and they just feel way less hungry, or it might be the other way around. They've used the patches before, but just the way that their body processes things, that the drops work better for them. So it is quite a personal thing, but the ingredients are quite similar and they are designed to produce the exact same benefit, and we do generally find that that's what they do. Great. Okay, I think those are the main points that I wanted to cover with the processes. Unless you had anything else to add, Zhanna, I think we're ready to...
No, I think that maybe we just mention here about the other supplements. You made a very good post last week. So I think it's important to refer back to this particular post, but maybe just run through the big no-goes and a maybe list, so ladies can at least remember or at least know where to go and find more information about it. I think that's quite important.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we'll start with the nay list, the supplements to avoid. So fish oil, you'll see this one is actually detailed in our approved food list as something to not take, purely because of the fat content. So obviously fish oil does have benefits in general life, as do healthy fats, but through our detox process, we really try to aim to reduce the intake of fats. That's purely because when we eat dietary fats, our liver has to work a little bit harder to be able to break them down. And a big focus on our detox is obviously not just weight loss, but really increasing those detoxification channels and that elimination. So that's why it's really important to take good care of the liver and reduce the work that it has to do to be able to break down foods. So that's why fats aren't included until maintenance. So during the detox and fat loss, we avoid healthy fats, obviously unhealthy fats as well. And that's why we say no to fish oil. Protein or collagen powder is another one we say to avoid, purely because these are really more of a food product than a supplement. They both do contain calories, protein, which generally obviously is really a good thing depending on the exact formulation, but they don't fit into the food structure that we've kind of developed specific to obtain results on this program. So we say to just avoid them. They're really not needed. Particularly when it comes to collagen powders, the quality varies a lot, and also there's so much more we can do to kind of support a healthy collagen rather than just taking a powder. And actually, I think the more research that comes out, the more that we find that a lot of other ways of supporting healthy collagen can be a lot more effective. Our body doesn't necessarily get collagen and use it in our skin. So a lot of the ingredients in the detox drops and patches do contain really high levels of antioxidants and vitamin C, which are really important for helping to prevent the breakdown of collagen. So you'll still be getting these similar effects for helping with your hair, skin, and nails. A lot of women report that when they finish their detox, their skin's glowing, their hair's shinier, they're feeling a lot brighter, and that has a lot to do with the way that the food as well as the drops or the patches can help with collagen. So there's really no need to take it as a powder. Superfood powders we've also put on the NA. This is for a similar reason, because they tend to contain a lot of calories, carbs, not a lot, but they contain some. But also they're really not necessary. We've made sure that our programs kind of include everything you need to be getting that nutritional variety, as well as a lot of vitamin C and antioxidants. And our bodies do kind of take those on and process them a lot better when they come as a whole food form rather than as these kind of processed powders. We've kept greens powders on the maybe, and that is only because they are more nutritionally dense. They also tend to contain a lot less calories and carbohydrates. And the last one that's actually not on the list that I posted on Facebook, but we are also including in the NA, is vitamin gummies and effervescent tablets. This is because the way that these are formulated, they have a lot of ingredients in there that are completely unnecessary, and a lot of them are a bit yucky, to be frank. And with the TGA, they actually no supplement has to put its excipients on the label. So particularly with these ones where they're kind of striving to achieve a palatability or a textural or a taste, it's not just something that you swallow. Obviously with supplements and tablets, there's no taste to them. They don't add in flavors, fillers. They don't need it to be chewy. But there are so many more ingredients added into gummies, and lots of sugars and effervescence. And the actual, I can't remember exactly what it is. But yeah, I worked for a big supplement company before, and I remember we didn't have to tell people what was in it. And a lot of people were annoyed by that, but we wouldn't tell anyone because it was a bit gross. It was not something that you want to be putting in your body, so they're really good to avoid as well.
Cool, excellent, awesome. Thank you, Chels. I love doing these sessions, as I said, and it's so educational. So it's up to you if you want to stay, or if I can run the second part of the goal setting. It's up to you.
I'll hang around.
Yeah, amazing.
I'd like to do some goal setting.
Yay. Look, I'm big, for some of you who know me for years and years, I'm big on manifesting and goal setting. So let's not talk about manifesting and anything else at the moment, but I'd love to chat to you about really goal setting. So let me try to share my screen. Share the screen. Share the screen. This one. Share.
Nice.
Let me just check. Here we go. Can you see the goal setting PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Beautiful. So goal setting, it's one of the most important steps in developing new healthy habits. I say it's pretty much the most important step to create the life that you desire. And with goal setting, we all have our goals, and we need to set our goals. We need to feel accountable, and we need, as humans, we need to have this sense of achievement. Goals keep us accountable. They keep us going when we want to quit, and they give us something to celebrate when our hard work and dedication has paid off. There's a couple of rules, or not rules, but I suppose tools, I would say, on how to set your goals that you're able to achieve. And a lot of us, we love New Year's resolutions because we love buying the new notepads or new diaries. And I know tons of my friends would spend the first week in January creating and setting new goals. But as I said, there are certain tools and certain ways of setting certain goals the right way so you can achieve them. First of all, every single goal that you have, it has to be stated in a positive. And what I mean by positive, it's you need to say what you want, not what you don't want. So we can't say, I don't want to wear this clothes anymore. You need to say, I want to look fabulous in this particular dress. Yes. So there's no negativity in your statement. They have to be initiated and maintained by self. Again, we need to set our goals, and we need to realize that by setting our goal, this is our goal, and you need to be in control. So no matter what happens outside, no matter what happens outside our environment, our home, we are in charge of this particular goal. They also have to be achievable. So we need to be realistic in setting our goals with the right time frame. So if you want to lose 15 kilos by next month, most likely it's not going to happen. But if you want to lose, let's say 10-15 kilos in 3-4 months, then you know what to do. And especially if you come to Slim by Nature, we can definitely help you with that, right? With that specific time frame. They also have to be specific sensory-based description. And what it means, we really need to feel and know how to feel when this goal, when this, I suppose, wish does come true. So when we, let's say, going back to this goal where I want to lose 10-15 kilos in 3-4 months time, because you want to imagine you inviting your friends and your family for Christmas lunch, for example, and you're wearing this beautiful dress and you feel, you ooze this beautiful feeling around you, right? So you need to have that sensory. They also have to be appropriate chunk size. So they have to be big enough to be worthwhile, yet small enough to feel attainable. We'll move on to, can you see all my emails that are coming through as well? Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's a lot of junk. Never mind. So there are different type of goals, and as humans, we tend to only set outcome-based goals where the focus is the end result. But how does this give us any clear outline or any clear footpath to actually be able to achieve this particular goal? So it is important to set some behavior-based goals to help set clear path. These goals are the action steps taken to reach the bigger goal. And I've got a couple of examples here. A lot of times when I speak to clients, you say, what is your ultimate goal? What would you like to achieve? They say, I'd like to lose weight, or I'd love to sleep better. That's an outcome goal, right? Where if we want to know how we're going to get there, we need to use our behavior goal. And instead of saying, I want to get 8 hours sleep or I want to improve my sleep, behavior goal allows you to break it down and create little steps. So creating a relaxing sleep routine every night to help me sleep better. It's something achievable that you can do every night, right? So it's by saying get 8 hours sleep, it's not going to happen if you don't know how to get 8 hours sleep. Again, if, for example, with me, I want to turn up, and for me to turn up, I know I need to do 3 times Pilates every week, plus walking and running, thanks to Chelsea. So
yeah, I love to see that. It's so fun in our group chats. Post photos of everyone.
But and just talking about this, for example, Chelsea is a runner. She runs every morning, where I am a Pilates yoga girl, and I love to go for a walk. But my goal now is to be able to run, 5 kilometers without stopping, and obviously within the certain time frame. And every day when I go for a walk, I don't run. I can't run. I'm not a runner. I actually don't like it. And I can't run 5 kilometers without stopping. But every morning I go, I actually made a decision. I'll be running, for example, 2 weeks ago, I said to myself, I'll be running 3 times while I'm doing the circle. Today, for example, I run 6 times, right, with stopping and starting again. So I know that by the end of this year, I would be able to run without stopping. And just the thought of it, because I broke it down and I know it's achievable, I know I can achieve it, and I know I can do that. It makes me feel happy, right? So
Nice.
I'm doing great.
That's a good plan of attack.
Thanks. Then we're moving on to avoid goals versus approach goals. So with the avoid goals, it's almost like being a bossy parent telling you to stop doing something. It never really works. For example, stop eating ice cream every night. And if you keep telling yourself to stop doing something, you end up awakening your inner rebel, right? And it just doesn't work with us humans. But if we actually again, break it down and sit with it and think, how can I stop eating ice cream every night? Or how can I stop eating chocolate every night? I have a friend who, because of the stress level she has, she would eat chocolate. So my recommendation was, why don't you start eating berries every night and just see what happens, right? So all of a sudden, you might still eat the chocolate every second night, but you'll reduce your intake, or you reduce the intake of ice cream from 5 to 3. Yeah, little micro steps. It works better because it's empowering and it's clearly giving you an action to follow. Finding your why. This is something that we're really big in Slim by Nature, and we talk about it. I think every single guide that we have produced and rewritten, we do talk about finding your why. Discovering your why beneath your goals. It's something that's something that you truly want to achieve. Is all about what will give you more of or less of in your life. So when you have a clear understanding of why you want something, you will always figure out the way, when and how do I get there. So the most important element of goal setting is knowing your why. So when I talk to clients and I say, why do you want to do this program? What is the motivator behind spending money and going on a journey like, body slimming detox? A lot of clients would come back to me and say, oh, I just want to look good for Christmas. Okay. And when I first started SBM many years ago, I was quite a tough one, and I would go deeper and deeper and deeper with every phone call to really awaken that emotion. Why do you want to look good for Christmas? What is the reason behind it? An example here, I'll share, and you, again, going back to our workbook, it will allow you to dig deeper. And sometimes this particular exercise, it can be quite emotional, and sometimes you will discover and find the real answer to why you want to set this goal, or what is the reason behind it. For example, I want to look good in my swimmers, so then the next question would be, why do you want to look good in your swimmers? So I feel more comfortable, or I feel less self-conscious. And then you ask again, then what is important about that? And your answer might be, so I feel more confident. And then you ask again, what is important about feeling confident, or what will it give you? And then you digging, see how you kind of going under each layer deeper and deeper. And you say, I want to feel confident so I can spend more time, let's say, at the beach with my family and my kids, and go swimming with my kids. And then again, we're getting closer and closer. And then again, why it's important to you? Because, and then your answer might be, because it's such a special time. You know, we spent a lot of time saving for this holiday so we can go with our kids, and I really don't want to sit alone on the beach watching my family play in the water, right? So see how the emotion is quite strong, and it's not just I want to look good in my swimmers versus I want to spend time with my kids, I want to be present with my kids, and I want to take photos even. So why is super important. And before you start any program, and as I said, in our guides, you really need to sit and work through your why, find your why, because this is something that will keep you accountable. And the next step is anchoring your goal and your why. So when life gets busy and stuff happens, for example, I'll always refer back to this New Year resolution list that we have, 20 goals that we want to achieve this year, or how I'm going to change my life. And something happens, let's say mid-January, February, and all of a sudden we forget about our goals. And again, we kind of go back to the previous year's, attitude, energy, and our goals kind of disappear. So we really need to help ourselves to anchor them, and in order so they can be kept in front of our mind. So what we need to do, we need to find something in our environment that we see quite often. I believe Alyssa, she posted yesterday a video, and I love this girl. She posted.
I love this.
Posted everywhere around her house. And this is something that really, it worked with her before when she did our other challenge. I believe she did the same thing. Some women take out the dress that they've been not wearing for a couple of years, and they really want to fit in, and they pretty much don't believe that they will ever be able to wear the dress, and they just leave the dress on a dresser. So every morning they wake up, it's a constant reminder. Some just love little things like, your perfume, or little jewelry that you decide to wear for the next 30, 60, 40 days, whatever it might be. So that's anchoring. That's what we call it, anchoring. It's a constant reminder. And with anchoring, it's really good, because as soon as you kind of deviate from the course, you'll feel guilty. And to feel guilty and disappointing in ourselves and disappointed in ourselves, it's the worst feeling in the world. So if you have these anchors, it will kind of bring you back faster and quicker, and you kind of will focus on your goal. It's like a compass, right? So I think it's and again, it's always good to have 2, 3 anchors that, if you're in the car, have something in a car. I have my favorite playlist that just drives me insane, and I get so much energy and excitement every time I drive and I listen to this particular playlist. It reminds me that, yes, I want to be somewhere. I need to achieve this. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And my favorite one is clear the clutter. And clear the clutter, it can be really daunting exercise, but I always say you can't really create anything new if your mind, if your social media, if your bathroom, if your home, your house is untidy. So like in this example in particular, I said, if you want to bring new furniture, or you're purchasing new furniture, you're purchasing new couch, you can't really bring a new couch unless you dispose of the old one. So apply this rule to all levels of your life. I would start with social media. Social media is such a monster, especially in today's world. We call it social media, but really it consists of all sorts of information, all sorts of different people, friends, family members, And sometimes for this particular time, while we're on this detox, while we're on this journey, we all know who doesn't need to know about this. And if you're posting something, especially on your feed, or some members might trigger something in you that will upset you. So for this particular time, while you're on this detox, just, I'm not saying unfriend them or block them, but just how can you do it in the Facebook? I think you can.
I think you can yes, and you can censor what you see. It's like, I don't think it's unfollowing, but yeah, it's
like filtering.
Not viewing their posts or whatever it is. Yeah, filtering.
Yes. So you can do it both ways. So you can filter what they see on your feed, and you can filter what you see on your feed. And it's a really good exercise because it's hard to do so, but it's so beneficial for your mental health. Again, I would say, while you're still on your first week of detox, just start decluttering. We used to actually run a decluttering challenge many years ago. I don't know, maybe we should bring it back for our next challenge. Where in the first week, you really just you start with the bathroom, then the kitchen, and you really just dispose of 8 to 15 items that you haven't touched for years. Like creams. We have so many creams and so many shampoos, and the bathroom, for example, that we not used for a while. So just remove them out of your life, out of your bathroom, out of your living room. Make some space and create some new energy for new beginning. You really need to have that. So I think this is pretty much it. As I said, I will just stop sharing. I will send an email. Right? Can you see me, guys? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's back to normal.
One of my laptops is blank. It's okay. I will send an email with the workbook, and as I said before, I highly recommend spend some time just going through the exercise in this book, and apply to all different parts of your life and see how you go. If you have a partner or if you have a girlfriend who's doing the challenge, do it together. It definitely will help. Any questions, you can obviously reply back to our email. If it's sensitive information, you can reply via email, and we can help you directly through that channel. Alyssa says, I'm just going through some comments. It keeps her focused, and having my Fitbit pushes me also. Exactly. Like I actually have much more pleasure when I don't forget my Apple Watch while I do walks and runs, because obviously it's the statistic tool for me. It keeps me accountable. Like this morning, I forgot my watch. It was almost like, oh no, like I was at giving up stage. She's like, no, you still go. It doesn't matter. It's just keep on going.
Yeah.
Meg Peggy, you say, love to find your why. I have never thought about it like this, with finding why I want to do this. Exactly. But just spend a little bit more time on finding your why and dig deeper, it's like onion, you're just kind of taking each layer and getting to the bottom of it. Really, really what's pushing you to do that. Not very clear. Not sure if it's 750. Must be something around me. But
I think again, not very clear was when you first put on the PowerPoint, and the PowerPoint was fuzzy.
Oh, okay, great. No worries. But yes, so I hope it did help you in some ways to set your goals, and I think it's important, especially in your first week. I thank Chelsea for her information. I'm glad I'm not sharing my screen anymore. Messages coming from home. ETA soon. I'm not sure if you're watching me, but that's okay. Do you have any questions? As I said, our channels are open. Please be patient with us. Normally, your emails get answered within pretty much 12 to 24 hours via Fresh Desk and service support. Phone calls. But phone calls obviously are much easier if you need something on instantly to find out. And group, utilize the group. It's built for you. You get support.
Yeah, I think the other lovely thing about the group at the moment is that obviously obviously we've got the challenge, but there's lots of people who've done the challenge in the past, so they have such great advice and have kind of been there before and are giving lots of support, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, ladies. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your time.
Thanks,
I know
everyone.
it's late. Thank you, Chelsea. And I'll speak to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Zhanna.
Okay, have
Yeah,
a good
sounds
night.
good. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Bye.